Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Paranormal Hour here on the Dakota Network. And today I got three girls um, paranormal investigations on. Andrea, why don't you explain to me who you have with you today?
I have my co-founder, Christy, with me today.
Okay. How long have you guys been doing investigations?
I've been doing them for 16 years, and Christy's been doing them for 7 years.
That's a lot of time. You guys have a lot of experience, I'm assuming. So what got you into it? What made you decide to get into paranormal investigating?
Well, for me, and this is my favorite story of all ever to tell, I've always been interested in the fringe sciences, but when my youngest daughter was 3 years old, she used to have this woman, and I couldn't go anywhere without buckling the woman into the car, feeding it, whatever. One night we were painting our nails, and I said, "Hey, Rosie, do you want me to paint your woman's nails?" And she started laughing at me, and she told me, she says, "It's a boy, silly." So, little red flags went up, but I didn't think too much about it because I just kind of thought, well, it's just an imaginary friend. And a few months more went by, and my sisters and I went to a cemetery, and we went to visit the grave of a boy that my sisters had gone to school with, and who had died in a car wreck. Well, we walked up to his headstone, and his picture was on it. And she looked up at me, and she says, "Mama, what's my woman's picture doing there?" So that's whenever I really got into it. Christy?
I grew up with my mother always believing, and she always explained that she was always followed by spirits, and that just made me really interested in it and wanting to do more research and do good, I guess.
Yeah, the story Andrea told me would kind of send some flags up also.
Yeah,
what got me,
I love her story.
what got me interested in this whole thing is my father had a few experiences, but then my son, when he was about 4 years old, was sleeping in between me and my wife, and he got up real scared in the middle of the night and was standing there and woke me up and said a gentleman walked in the room, made eye contact with him, and then walked into the closet. And he described the clothes the gentleman was wearing, perfect and everything. So that kind of got me hooked into it really big. So I don't do investigations or anything, but I do enjoy the paranormal.
Have you ever done an investigation?
No, but I would love to. I would love to go out on one.
They're very interesting. I think they're kind of fun.
I agree.
Especially if you like to question everything. And, whenever I grew up, I was told that, I used to get in trouble because I questioned everything.
So what determines if somebody calls you and says they want you to come out and investigate something, how do you determine if you're going to go out and do it, or if you're just going to say that, like if you think it's their imagination or if you think it's a real situation that needs to be checked into further?
First of all, we try to take every experience that a person has as something that they actually in their mind believe that they have experienced. So we look at it as if, okay, they've got concerns, so we're going to look into them. We will then research the property, the home, see if we can find anything, any kind of sordid history that maybe it has happened in the home or on the land. But there are people where you have to stop and think, okay, it could be their imagination, but you still want to go ahead and actually, look into it. One thing that I really like is for more than one person to have had experiences in the place to where we go. Especially when they're not related, like for example, if we investigated your house, we would look to the people, we would try to see if we could find who lived in it before to see if they've had any kind of experiences in there. And we'll still go in, but we kind of determine how long we stay on what kind of experiences we have within so long a time after getting there.
Have you ever, like, got somewhere and then realized it was, like, worse than you really ever thought and thought maybe you were in over your head or anything like that ever?
Yes, at a cemetery.
I love this cemetery. I have to throw that out there.
So, you want to tell us what happened?
The cemetery is not, I mean, it's got really old headstones in it. It dates from, now to, what was it, 1810, 1807?
That's what I'm thinking.
Something in that.
Early 1800s.
Yeah, somewhere in that. And it goes so far as some of the headstones are actually, they were carved, like, not from a mortuary, but they were just rocks with last names on it. And you could tell they were kind of chiseled in. We actually had Christy. There's a mausoleum out there. Is that how you say it? Mausoleum. Anyways, and it's a man and a woman, and the woman's on her grave is actually on top of the man's grave, and it's an old folk tale that if you knock on this mausoleum, you'll hear knocks back. We were out there a couple of weeks ago, and Christy knocked on it, and she's talking, she's saying, I hear if I knock, you'll knock back, and she's talking, and I could distinctly hear it knock back. And so that kind of took me back, and it shocked me because it's a cemetery. You don't expect that at a cemetery. I mean, maybe in homes, but cemeteries, I've never had any kind of experiences like this particular one.
Yeah, that would kind of set me back too if I heard a knock back like that. Now, how do you approach an investigation? Do you have you go in like and set up a certain way and approach it like scientifically, or do you approach it thinking you're going to experience something, or do you try to debunk everything you?
Yeah, we go in. Christy and I, even though we both had our personal experiences, we go in kind of skeptic. We try to debunk anything and everything that we can. And the things that we can't, we will, reach out to fellow investigators and say, okay, look, we had this happen. Can you tell us what you think of it? Can you help us debunk it, or should we go back?
Do you ever feel that you have to, like, I had a gentleman on last week, and he said sometimes they've had to call priests out and stuff. Have you ever had to do anything like that?
No.
No, we've never called a priest into anywhere.
Have you ever? Now, are you ever worried about something following you home or anything? Because I hear a lot of people say they're worried about stuff following them home, and then activity starting at their home.
I think that's a lot of where your personal faith and your own religion comes in, and your beliefs. Whenever we walk into a place, we tend to say, okay, we're coming in, but you're staying here. We're going to leave, but you cannot go with us. I do sage rituals. We do, I don't know. I don't ever go in thinking, or I don't ever go in afraid that something's going to follow me home. Because I believe that we have power over our fears.
I agree with that.
Have you ever been anywhere where something's touched you or anything?
Yes, I've been scratched. And I believe that at one time I think that I had something pass through me.
I've had my shirt pulled out. Can't think of what else. Something else happened.
I've had my hair pulled.
Now, if you go out somewhere and you guys got EVPs and got all this like information, and you're pretty sure that the place has activity going on, how can you help the people? Like, and because a lot of times they call you guys out because they want to try to figure out how to stop this from happening. Do you have any ideas on how to help people stop it from happening?
Well, a lot of the people that we have actually gone to, it's not that they want it to stop. They just want reassurance that they're not crazy. Or, they want to know, hey, is my place, do you think there's activity here? If I got a cool house, I haven't personally gone in somewhere where somebody's asked me to make it stop. Have you?
No. I have not ever either encountered.
I have gone through an investigation one time where the client was actually wanting to know more than what I could tell them. So, I did get them in touch with a friend of mine who's a medium. But, I've not ever been called to make something stop.
Do you think people do anything that makes their activity worse? Do you think some people can channel it to make it worse? Or do you think like using Ouija boards and stuff will make activity worse?
The Ouija board, to me, that's a really touchy subject because some people really have a lot of faith in the Ouija board. I think when I was a kid, I played with one time, but I think that activity is going to happen. Some people, I think it's going to happen if it's there. Some people can actually, I guess if they really want it to happen, they can try to communicate with them and but it takes a lot of energy for an entity to actually manifest itself in noise or in sight. So I don't really know how to answer that question.
Yeah, I don't like Ouija boards.
No, I don't either. And when I was younger, I goofed around with one a little bit, but they kind of freak me out a little bit, so I don't mess with them. So a lot of people don't.
Yeah. I believe that's what I do.
Do you believe people, though, are like magnets for activity? Like they can, yeah. Okay.
Because, I
go ahead.
I think there are people out there who are more perceptive than they realize. And I think I just really believe there are more people out there that are way more perceptive than what they realize, because society tends to downplay the fringe sciences in that manner, I think.
Okay. Have you ever have you ever been into an investigation that actually scared you in any way?
Yes, I have. Because when you go into places, you don't expect. I don't expect to say, okay, I'm going to knock on the wall and I want you to knock back, and I'm not expecting that knock back. So it does kind of startle you. But you just got to stay focused and keep on keeping on.
Okay. It would kind of scare me if I was in a room and I had a recorder and I picked up an EVP, I'd be kind of scared. So
actually, it's not as scary as you think, because I mean, sometimes you don't hear it with your own ears, and you know, you when you're playing it back, you hear it and you're like, what's that? Nah, that ain't nothing. And you rewind and you play again, and you go back and you play it again, and you loop it and you keep playing it until you're like, okay, that's really something. There's something there.
And I think it's just fun and exciting.
It's a thrill, more or less.
It's a thrill.
It's because you're like, ooh, you know, it's almost a bingo. I'm one letter away from a bingo. You know.
Yeah, well, I can understand how it could be exciting. It's kind of an adrenaline rush almost, going in and then finding something to even make it more. So my buddy has a question for you. He's on my chat room in here, and he wanted to know, have you ever used a spirit box?
I have. We actually have a PSB7. I don't really like to use them on investigations. I don't know if it's because I feel as if there's too much outside contamination because we always go in reverse when we use it. I don't know. I'm kind of old school in that manner. I'm just kind of old school in that manner. I don't like to use them.
Because he was using one the other day in his house, and he asked us some questions, and it answered them back, and it kind of freaked him out a little bit. He put it in his drawer.
Yeah, actually, I have a friend, and she had a team go into her home, and she lives in New York, and she had a team go into her home, and she actually had really good results. I don't know if I'm just so closed-minded that I don't like the spirit box. I don't know.
Have you ever had? Do you think there's a difference between an intelligent haunt and a residual?
Yeah, there's a big difference between an intelligent haunt and a residual. An intelligent haunt is something that doesn't follow a path, but a residual, it follows a path. Like an intelligent haunt can actually get out there, and people say that those are the kind that knock back at you. They're the kind that, you know, can give you EVPs, whereas a residual haunt, they just go through one. It's like a record playing over and over and over the same activity.
Okay. Now, do you have you been able to, like, I go by what I watch on TV. I've seen some like ghost hunters and stuff like that. Have you ever been able to communicate in any way with like flashlights or anything like they do or anything like that?
I have not. With the K2 meter, we've had, and the EMF detector, we have had results from them, but not with flashlights.
No.
You do know what I'm talking about, though, right? You have seen that on that show, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if somebody wanted to get into this, would you just recommend them to just go buy a kit, or would you recommend them go out with somebody first and learn how to do it, or do you think there could be mistakes made if they go out on their own and try it?
I would suggest that they go, you know, because a lot of teams will invite people to go with them. I would suggest that they did that first. But if they were still, you know, interested in, you know, like, you know, that's how I got my start. I went out with a team first and was lucky enough to be invited back a couple of times, and I moved out of the state that I was living in, and whenever I moved in here to Oklahoma is whenever I formed my own team.
Have you ever felt that going out and investigating somewhere could make the situation worse in any way?
I don't know what you mean.
Okay, somebody has activity going on. They call you out to investigate. You guys go out and investigate, and then the activity gets worse. Do you think it could make the situation worse that way?
I've never actually heard of that, and I honestly have never even thought about it making the activity any worse.
Yeah, I was just asking the question because I wasn't sure myself. I was just curious. So what was one of your, what can you talk about some of your favorite investigations?
Let's see, which one's my favorite? Why don't you go first on that?
My favorite was we did in Coffeyville. I did it with a different team. The crew came in, and it was really, really interesting. That's where my shirt was pulled out. One of the investigators actually got thrown across the room and landed in a chair, busted the chair, and the investigators called the investigation over because it was getting pretty violent.
Was that one that you could tell where it was? Was that, can you tell them where you were at?
Oh, yeah, we were at the Brown Mansion in Coffeyville, and it's known to be really haunted there. We did, before all that happened, though, we were down in the basement and asking questions and getting knocks as responses, and then we heard one of the investigators yelling, and then that was it, because he was petrified, just petrified.
Now, with them breaking things like that means they can move stuff. Now, were you guys concerned about getting hurt or anything? I mean, is that why they called it off?
Yes, that's why they called it off. They were afraid other people may get hurt. So, and the investigator said he actually seen it was the woman of the house, and he was actually standing face to face with her. And then all of a sudden, next thing he knows, he's flying across the room and landing in a chair and breaking it. So, yeah. They were looking out for the team and not wanting anybody else to get hurt, so they called the investigation.
Okay. Because that's, if I got touched or anything, my investigation would be over for sure.
I think it would be neat.
I don't mean to laugh, but I'd be like, I'm going home. Do you believe in demonic, presences in hauntings, or do you think it's mostly just people that have passed on?
I believe there are demonic hauntings out there. Personally, thankfully, I would have to add, I've not ever been to an investigation with a demonic haunting before.
I have not either.
Okay. Yeah, because you would, for me, if somebody got thrown across the room into a chair, that's what I would be thinking.
I was wanting to go back in and finish.
You got more guts than I do. You're definitely braver than me. So how about you, Andrew? What was one of your favorite ones?
My favorite one actually happened by Powwow Grounds. It was actually the house where the house stood was on Indian land, and you could go out there and you just I don't know. A lot of my friends are Native American, and I really have a lot of admiration for their form of religion. But you step inside this house and you can smell the cedar, you can smell the sage. But when it gets quiet in that house, like what they call the witching hour, that's whenever you could hear the singing, the songs of the Native Americans. you could literally hear that with your ears. I mean, it just sounded like it was so far away, but it was just so. It was one of the absolute coolest investigations I've ever been on. For me, there's just really no way to explain. I mean, everything that happened that night. It was just really cool.
So, I have a question in my chat room again, if you guys don't mind answering it. I don't know if you can. One of the people in there wanted to know, do you have any idea how to remove a ghost or a spirit or an evil spirit from your home if they didn't want the presence there?
I would say if they had an evil spirit in their home and they didn't want it there, that they would probably want to call up their preacher or priest, turn to the religion. If they have no religion, then look for, like, holy water. Is that what they say to do?
Holy water and sage afterwards.
Yeah, because personally, I don't know personally. What I know is what I've, on that subject, is what I've learned from others in the same field.
And what I've learned is if the ghost or the spirit does not want to leave, it is not going to leave no matter what you do to it. What you do is what I was informed.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If it doesn't want to leave, is it going to leave, or is it just going to stay there anyway?
Yeah, it just stay there anyways. Like, that's what I was told, so.
Another question I have in the chat room here is somebody wants to know, what kind of questions do you ask the spirits while you're doing a haunt? Like, do you do what kind of questions would you ask to try to get them to, like, talk on your EVPs or leave messages on your EVPs and stuff?
We ask so many different questions. When we very first go in, we introduce ourselves. We always pause. It doesn't matter, if we're talking, back and forth, before, we always try to leave room for interaction from an entity or spirit. We'll ask things like, is there anyone here with us? And then we'll, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to walk through an investigation in my mind. We never do it the same way. It's, but we will actually, how did you? We might even ask, how did you die? How old were you? Just things like that. Things that, we keep their answers short. We don't want them to sit there and give us a long drawn out, because it'll take a lot of energy for them to do so. Okay,
you just want them to be able to answer in, like, one-word answers and stuff.
Yes.
I got what you're saying. And another question a person has in the chat room is, do each one of you play a different role in the investigation? Do each one of you handle something different, or do you just go in and you just go along and just go from there?
On the inside, when we actually go into the investigation, we are together. One of us will be in charge of some of our tools, and then the other one will have, other tools, like, the millimeters and voice recorders and all that. Pre-investigation, Christy takes care of the research on the property and stuff like that, and I actually go through and do the first interview on the home. We do the walkthrough together. Being two of us, it's kind of limited.
Yeah.
Now, you guys do more investigations on homes, or do you do them on, like, abandoned buildings or things like that?
I don't think that we've had more homes than, I think it's kind of like an equal thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
A lot of the buildings, like, I don't know, we never go into an abandoned building. I mean, we always, first of all, without permission. But abandoned buildings, normally, if they're letting us go in, sometimes they're charging us. So to actually do it.
Now, there's something I did not know.
Yes, there are times when we actually get charged to go in to investigate places.
That's kind of strange. I wouldn't charge anybody if I had a place. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't be charging people.
We never charge to go in, so I mean, we just think, oh, cool. Our friends go out to bars on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and we're like down in jeans, putting our hair up in ponytail, and we're going into homes and cemeteries or whatever.
Now, do you get more activity out of a cemetery than you would like a home or a property? Would you think?
Actually, I would say no. I've been, of all the years I've done this, I've actually been spooked in cemeteries, but I've never had as much activity in cemeteries because you can always debunk what you hear. Unless if you catch it, on an EVP, and sometimes you can even say, oh, that kind of sounds like a tree frog, or, that's a bird, or, the wind, I would say, for me, I've had most experiences in buildings, homes, and the like.
Okay. Is there a certain time of day that seems to be more active than other parts of the day, or does it seem to be consistent all day long?
Sometimes, you hear about the witching hour, which is a proverbial window in between 1 and 4 in the morning. But there are some places where the activity actually happens all day, or throughout the day.
Okay. Do you have can you give us a list of what type of equipment you use?
Oh, my. We have laser grid pens. We have motion detectors. We have shadow density detectors, voice recorders, millimeter, EMF detector, K2 meters, radiation detectors. Oh, my gosh. I know I'm forgetting a lot. What am I forgetting, Christy?
I'm thinking they're all going through my head, too.
Have you ever caught anything on film?
On film, is that what you said?
Yes, on film.
No.
So most of your activity, you guys catch is like EVPs and personal experiences and stuff.
Yes. Sadly, the Holy Grail is to catch something on film. I mean, that's the Holy Grail. Preferably
a lot of people,
apparition.
Yeah. Some people would think, though, a personal experience would probably be more exciting than finding something on film later on. But I could see what you're saying, though, like, very exciting. Now, do you find locations that have had tragic events happen on them seem to have more activity or so than places that haven't?
Yes. It's been my personal experience, and I can say yes. I think. I have, in my younger years, I pre-kids, I went to a lot of the Civil War battlegrounds and stuff like that, and I would definitely say yes. If something terribly bad has happened in the place, whereas if somebody just, passed away of natural causes.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. I was, asking. You guys want to discuss some of your EVPs that you guys have sent in?
Sure.
Which one would you like me to play first?
You pick, because we'll know it.
Okay. This first one is it's a 2-minute and 44-second EVP. You guys talk in the beginning of it. I've listened to it. It says Oak Hill on it. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So here we go. I'm going to play it.
Okay, now here is the whole recording. When we were talking about something not working, that was actually my laser grid pen. Every time I would actually try to look into the crack of this stone, this headstone, it would stop working. Now, the folklore is that if you look into the grave, you will see bright either red or green eyes looking back at you. I can't remember what Christy said right at this particular moment. Anyways, here is the whole recording.
Mother Olive. That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. That's okay. I don't even see a crack. Oh, I thought that was the fire. I thought that was the fire.
Say they replaced this like cracks up here or something. Maybe, I don't know. That's what I was saying. I don't even see I see cracks that don't go down in.
I don't know if I can see anything with the. I'm like, what the hell?
Here, if you knock on your grave, you'll knock back.
Hell. Works just fine right there.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, now it's gonna work. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I needed to see spots.
These are all McPherson's.
Yeah.
Okay, and like I said, the laser grid not working, I've never had a problem with it before, and this was not an official investigation, it was just me being me. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed.
Pretty interesting.
Okay, that one, at the very first, whenever you hear the recorder beep, you will hear the very first EVP that we caught. I mean, it was in the middle, and I believe I sent you a loop of that.
Yeah, it would be the Oak Hill knock, right?
No. Hold on.
Baby Grave?
Nope. Hold on. I'll pull it up here.
Okay.
It was actually awkward because we asked a few questions before that, and none of that even showed up on our recorder. Just when I
very first started it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to play it for you. Maybe you can hear it.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
No.
Let me go get the recorder.
And I couldn't hear it.
You talk, and I'll go get the recorder.
So Oak Hill, what is that, a cemetery?
Yes.
Okay. That's in Oklahoma?
That one's in Kansas.
Kansas. Oh, so you guys travel everywhere then?
Yeah, I live in Kansas, so yeah, whatever I find around Kansas, we usually try to hit up, so.
Yeah, I used to live down in Tulsa for a while. So it's up outside of Tulsa by Sand Springs. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that over there. Sand Springs.
I was gonna say my parents lived in Sand Springs for a long time.
So, yeah. So in Kansas, you guys ain't that far apart then to go to Kansas or anything.
Yeah, we're pretty much near the state line, both of us. We're not too far from it. I think I'm like 6 miles and she's 11.
Oh, so that ain't too bad.
No.
You guys going on any investigations this weekend?
Not this weekend.
We should tonight because it's storming.
I agree with that. I'm willing to go anytime. I like the cemetery. The cemetery was very interesting to me.
So how did you guys hear about the cemetery? Did somebody call you about it, or did you guys just hear about it from
yeah, we just
stories
kept
of people
hearing.
talking?
Yeah, I just kept hearing stories about it, and then it just really intrigued me. So I went and finally found the gravestone that they were talking about, the stories were coming from or about, and finally got Andrea, and we went. It was pretty neat. Like I said, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, I think I've got it queued up now.
Okay.
Maybe. Can you hear it?
The knock?
No, this.
Yeah, this is the voice.
Okay, I hear that. What do you think is being said?
We are not sure what it says.
Yeah.
It sounds like a female voice, though, doesn't it? That's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we thought too.
Just making sure I was hearing the same thing you guys were. Now, you guys said this other one. It says baby graves.
Okay, now I got to explain this one because I was talking about my bad cooking. We hadn't yet. We were just setting up our equipment. We always turn the voice recorders on first, so you're going to hear me talking about my terrible cooking. We're going to be laughing, and then you're going to hear me say the word sugar, and you're going to hear a baby voice. It sounds like it's saying yes or guess or something, but you can go ahead and play that.
Okay.
And I'm laughing so hard I'm crying. She's like, Mom, what'd you do to the food? I said, look, I'm eating it too. Nothing. I didn't do anything. She's like, Mom, did you use sugar? Oh, God. It was funny. Oh, yeah. I've done that a couple of times. Once with cinnamon.
Okay, you're going to hear something.
Oh, God. It was funny.
I'm going to do it one more time. Right as I say, Sarah said, did you use sugar instead of salt? You will hear another voice say yes or guess or something like that.
I could hear that one too, very faintly, but I could hear it.
Yeah.
And actually, at that time, we were sitting, there was old markers. They weren't even headstones. They were just markers, and there were 4 babies from one family and then one baby from another. And that's where we were at. All the where I had set up the motion detector, the teddy bear was at the oldest, and the voice recorder was at the oldest one, and it was 4. The other 4 kids were like a couple of months to a year old.
Now, another question I was going to ask you guys: do you guys ever take, if you get like people telling you about like a child haunting or anything, do you take toys out or anything to see if you can get them to interact with it?
Yes, we have. Like I said, we have a motion detector. It's a bear, and sometimes I put it into a ball. Those are the 2. Oh, or a truck. I actually have an old Tonka truck that I will put it in.
Now, do you guys have? Now, I call that like a prop. I don't mean it like a prop, but I mean that's what I would call it, like something to stage up for them to interact with. Do you do that for other hauntings too, or when you're going into other places for like adult, which you wouldn't consider a child spirit or anything? Do you have things that might trigger them to interact with stuff?
We've used music. Music was one of the big ones. Depending, because we if we go into a place and we've done research and we know okay, this gruesome thing happened on this property in 1940. We will find popular singers from the 40s and play that on occasion, not on every investigation, just sometimes to see if we can get some kind of acknowledgement that there is an entity or spirit there.
Now this other EVP you sent me, it just says Oak Hill Knock. So do you want to explain that before I play it?
That's where that's where we heard the knocking out on the mausoleum. Is that how you say it, mausoleum? I don't know.
Mausoleum.
Yeah, mausoleum. Mausoleum. But Christy actually knocks on it and she says, "We hear if we knock on your grave, you'll knock back." Oh, thunder sounds bad, doesn't it? And she knocks 3 times, and she's talking, and I heard it knock. And so I asked her, I said, "Christy, did you hear that?" And she's like, "No." Well, she tried it again, but later we were actually sitting in her car, and we played it back, and we could faintly hear it. We couldn't hear it all the best, but I actually acknowledged that I've heard it on the recording.
Okay, I'm going to play it then.
Did you hear that? Andrea's belly growling. No. Oh, no? What? I actually thought I heard it knock back. Oh. Did you only knock once? Mm-hmm. We know where she is. They would knock on the... and you'd knock back. Did you hear that? Andrea's belly growling. No. Oh, no? What? I actually thought I heard it knock back. And you'd knock back. Did you hear that?
You can't hardly hear it. It's so faint.
Yeah.
I did hear something though.
Yeah.
You can barely hear it on the. You could barely hear it on.
I could replay it and turn it up and see if that works. Okay, I'm going to play it again.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Andrea's belly growling. No. Oh, no? What? I actually thought I heard it knock back. Oh. Did you only knock once? Mm-hmm. We know where she is. They would knock on the... and you'd knock back. Andrea's belly growling. No. Oh, no? What? I actually thought I heard it knock back. And you knocked back. Did you hear that?
I definitely heard it, and that would freak me out too. I'm sorry to say, I'm kind of a chicken when it comes to some of this stuff. Yeah, I definitely heard it.
I think you could hear everything a lot better if you had like headphones. It's a lot clearer.
That might be why I can hear. I have a headset on, so.
There you go.
So, do you have any other really good stories that you can talk about?
We were actually sometimes when and I'm putting this out there, and maybe I should not, but sometimes when people are telling you about experiences they are having in their home, one thing that I tend to do is a lot is question. Like I said earlier, I ask a lot of questions. When we go onto a property, you there's a lot of things you cannot do. You cannot do a health evaluation, a mental health evaluation on people. But sometimes people, the National Paranormal Society is actually looking into the fringe sciences and things that, and mental health and the coalition between the two. A recent place that we went to, actually there was a gentleman who was in a wheelchair. He was alone all the time. He was in a big place. As a paranormal investigator, one of the worst things that I had to do was actually tell him, we were in there 3 times, and he had all these fantastic stories for us. We go in and we're not always guaranteed that we're going to have the same experiences as people. But when it comes to somebody that is obviously they're on a lot of medications and stuff, one thing that we have to watch out for is, trying to break to them, okay, or ask them, could your medication be playing games with you? Are they interacting between themselves wrong? Not only is that one of the hardest things, but that place was actually one of my favorite places to go because it was a gorgeous old building, and the man knew a lot of history of the town. Did I even answer his question, or did I just go on a little rabbit chase?
You're answering it. I could see how medication, some people on medication could experience things that other people don't experience because the medication's reacting with them, and that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It's just, you might not experience the things that they experience.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is about it for the show then, because you guys did a great job. I'm glad you guys were on. I'd like to have you on again if you guys do another good investigation, get some more good EVPs and stuff like you had tonight. And I'm greatly appreciated that you guys came on.
Well, we appreciate you inviting us. We had a good time.
Thank you for having us.
Now, before you guys go, if somebody wanted to contact you or had something for you guys to investigate or wanted just to tell you some places that you guys can go investigate, how would they get in touch with you?
We actually have 2 email addresses, and my phone number on our Facebook page. Do you want us to give them to you?
Oh yeah, you can. You can give them right over the air, and then this way people can get in touch with you if they want to. Okay.
My phone number is 918-944-0102.
And my phone number is 620-605-8033.
And you can look us up on Facebook, the number 3, and Girls Paranormal Investigations.
Well, again, thank you for coming out, and it was great to have you on.
Thank you.
Great to be on. Thank you.
Now, before I wrap the show up, everybody, I would like to tell a few things that this show is going to be like maybe every other week instead of weekly show, and I'm going to give you a commercial now, and then we're on the show.
Do you listen to Blog Talk radio shows? Well, check out the ACE Network right here on Blog Talk Radio. The ACE Network is guaranteed to have a show for you. The ACE Network has tropical fish keeping shows for all you fish keepers out there. It has cooking shows for all those of you who love to get in the kitchen and cook and bake. And it has talk shows from rated R material to PG-13 material. There is something for everyone on the ACE Network. The ACE Network is brought to you by the Aquatic Wetline, our fish keeping podcast, Cooking with Alice Cardinelli, our cooking podcast, and the Alice Cardinelli Show, our talk show with some wonderful theories such as Saturday Night's Main Event, Friendship Hour, and Crime Time Hour. So be sure to check out the ACE Network on Blog Talk Radio. We air every single week. So check us out today, blogtalkradio.com/Alice Card Network. Thank you for listening to this message, and we hope to see you at the ACE Network.
I'll tell everybody out there, I've listened to a lot of Alex's shows, and he does a very good job, especially some of his fish shows, and the Saturday Night Live show is very good. I enjoy them both. So you can't go wrong by tuning into his network and checking out his shows, so I suggest everybody do it. And thank you for tuning in today to my show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please share and post this everywhere so people everywhere can listen to it and enjoy it. And if there's anybody out there who wants to come on the show and talk about their paranormal experiences or anything, you guys can contact me at ardeas71@gmail.com, or you can contact me through Facebook at Dakota Network on Facebook. And thank you for tuning in, and this was an excellent show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you very much for tuning in.